right, guys. We're here at Chica and Sunsets Hostel, and real quick, introduce yourself.
I'm Leonidas.
And I'm Inside Out.
Inside Out and Leonidas. Okay, let's talk about trail names real quick. How did you get them, and what do those names mean? Leonidas, start with you.
Okay. So, my wife and I started section hiking the AT in 2016. And at the time, I was into bodybuilding. So, right now, I actually realize I was lighter weight than when I started this trip. But I was about 220 pounds, 5-6% body fat. But I never did cardio. So, I came out here with a 50-pound pack, wearing really short shorts and a really tight Under Armour compression shirt. And we had been hiking for a couple days, and we got to Blue Mountain Shelter, and there was a couple guys in there hanging out. And when I walked up, one of the guys was like, "Hey man, what's your trail name?" And I said, "Well, I don't have one." And he's like, "You look just like King Leonidas from 300. And so I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll take that." And he's like, "So that's your trail name." And so that's where it came from. Of course, my wife was with me, and she's like, "You're just stroking his ego. Don't give him his, don't call him stuff like that." So that's where it came from.
I got mine basically on the trail my first time. I actually put my clothes on one morning in the dark, and later on realized that my pants were inside out. And because it takes so long to take off socks and shoes, I didn't want to change it. And so I shared that with the group. Then when it was time for bed, I went to get my bed clothes on and found out my socks were inside out. Shared that again, just wasn't even thinking about getting a trail name. And then that's when a lady in the group gave me the name Inside Out. So.
Yeah, so okay.
Yeah.
A lot of trail names have a bit of humor.
Yes.
In them.
Yes.
What's funny is, a lot of times you get an embarrassing trail name, but that's a pretty mild embarrassing trail name actually.
Yeah.
So you did good. You didn't get something like Stinky Pants.
Yeah,
or,
nothing involving bodily functions.
Right. Yeah.
Cool. So you guys are both started at Springer.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And tell us. I know Leonidas, your hike is ending today, but
Right.
tell us how the first these 100 miles went and what you learned. I know you're a veteran of long distance trails, and Inside Out you are brand new.
Yes.
So we started out on Springer a week ago Sunday after AT kickoff. Some friends of my friend that I met 2016 hiking drove us up to Springer, picked us up. So my buddy had injured his knee before he left, so we were kind of pulling back on miles. We originally were going to do 15s every day to get to Franklin by Saturday, yesterday. So he had let me know. He said, "Hey, I hurt my knee training, so we may have to pull back more." I said, "Oh, well, that's fine. It's your hike. I'm just kind of here to help you get started." But originally I was going to come out and do this as a challenge to see how fast I could get to Franklin before he told me he was going to hike.
Because it's very important to get to Chica and Sunsets Hostel fast.
To get to Chica and Sunsets fast, and to get to Franklin because it's the best trail town in the first 110 miles.
Okay. That's right.
Don't go to Hiawassee.
All right. Inside Out, how's your first 100 miles go?
So I started out on February 25th. Did the approach trail. That was really tough for me.
Mm-hmm.
Ended up staying at the first shelter. I forget, it's Springer Mountain Shelter. And actually pitched my tent inside the shelter because before I came on the trail, I said I would not be sleeping in shelters because I don't like mice running across my face, because that was a story I heard. But things have changed. I mostly have slept mostly in shelters, a lot to avoid the rain. Mm-hmm. And I've hiked in sleet and snow and rain and been soaking wet. And I think the trail has broken me in so far, because now I don't have a problem with putting on wet clothes the next morning and wet socks, like totally wet outfit, and getting out there and walking. It's like it's no big deal now. And I think already the trail is changing me, because at home you run in the house if there's a drop of rain coming out of the sky. It's like you run into the house. But here it's like it's just part of the trail. It's what you do, because if you wait to, just hike in the sun, you won't get, much hiking done. As far as I did have a problem, or I am having a problem with injury, in the sense that I think Blood Mountain did that to me, going up and then coming, back down. And so I ended up with a tweak in my knee, and literally on my way down, my leg was collapsing under me. And so I was really afraid to go down Blood Mountain. Luckily that day it wasn't raining. It was just a lot of tourists up at the top. Right. And it was bittersweet too when I got to the top, because I had seen so many videos of people getting up there and then climbing the rock and looking out over everything, and I wasn't able to do it. I was literally almost not able to even climb the steps to go into the shelter. So but then once I got down to the bottom, I did take a couple of days off, which helped my leg, and I was able to continue to move forward. I think one of the things that I'm really proud of myself for, because I was really concerned, is these actual last 5 days where I thought that I wouldn't be able to make it, because I still wasn't sure about my leg. But the issue may have been just that I was trying to do too much, and too much is relative, because some people say 8 miles. That's that's a few miles. It's not too much. But for me, a person who, like I said, this was my first time and haven't done a lot of hiking up and down mountains, it was a big deal. So these last 5 days, I'll do 5 here or 8 there, and ended up on the last day actually pushing like maybe 12. That was 12.4. That was my highest, and my legs still held up. So I was happy about that. So for the most part, it's been a lot of, different things that I, thought I would not get used to doing or do. And meeting a lot of nice, cool people on the trail. I think that was also something I look forward to, because sometimes you get, in the real world, you get this idea that maybe that people aren't so nice. But then you get out here and you see people who are just doing the same thing that you're doing, and they're just such cool people, and you enjoy the company and learning about their life outside of the trail. So I've been enjoying it.
Yeah, everybody's sharing the same struggles.
Yeah,
they're hungry, they're cold, they're wet.
Yes,
and they're trying to get miles in, and so that kind of bonds people in a special way.
The trail is the great equalizer.
It sure is.
Yeah,
cool. Okay, so this will be interesting. So we have someone who has quite a bit of experience, someone who has, 12 days?
Yes.
12 days. Okay, so what is one tip you would give to someone who was brand new hiking, who wanted to do a long-distance trail, say the Appalachian Trail? What's your best tip?
I think my best tip, no one ever told me this, my best tip would be to get some physical activity in that builds up your knees. I had no idea. All the videos I saw, I never heard people talk about how hard the trail is on your knees. So I would say if you could do exercises to build up that, your IT band, do those things to try to help your knees before you get on trail, because that would have helped. Even the Stairmaster might help build up the strength of your knees. Yes.
I think the thing is with the age we're in, with social media and things like that, everybody wants an answer for what is the best everything, and it's kind of like everybody. And I get it. People don't necessarily want to spend a lot of money to figure out what's right for them. But that's the crux of it, is everyone is so different that there is no one perfect anything.
Right.
So I think a lot of people watch social media, watch influencers, or even just other people they know that hike, and say, oh, hey, what do you use for this? Or what do you use for that? and they take that as gospel, because they don't necessarily, and I understand, I don't want to spend all this money to figure out something when I can just spend money one time.
Right. We were having this conversation.
Yeah, we've had this. Right.
Shoes and backpacks are the main culprits, I think.
Right.
Because they're so individual.
Right. Well, that's what happened to you with shoes, right?
Yeah.
So you tried Ultras because
everybody
uses Ultras.
Yeah.
I use Ultras.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody pretty much uses Ultras, but those actually possibly attributed to your knee issues because you weren't necessarily ready for that type of shoe. So that's kind of my thing. Everybody's, what backpack do you use? Whatever. I went through 8 backpacks before I got to the backpack I'm on.
Right.
But like we talked about, the used market out there, if you're willing to buy used, is very good because you can try things, not spend as much money, and as long as you take care of them, you can generally sell it for what you paid for it, so you're not out anything.
Right.
So I think that's the thing, is people need to be willing to actually try things out. Like other people have said, this is why you need to get out and use the gear.
Right.
Figure out how it works. You need to figure out what you like about certain things, what you don't like, and then research and try and find things that fit that criteria better, and then be willing to try that and figure out if that works or not. Because this, whether you like carrying a heavier pack because it's comfortable, that's perfectly fine. Right. Whether you want to carry a frameless pack that weighs 8 ounces and you've got a 15-pound total weight, if that's what you like and that's comfortable to you, that's great. But you have to be willing to take the time to figure out what your style is, what comforts you're willing to put aside, and what comforts you feel you need, and work all that out so that you can have a better height, so that you can not get injured, so that you can, you're out here for the long haul. You need to be willing to do the work to make the payoff. So.
Yeah, and then you need to use that gear in the conditions that you expect.
Right. Yeah.
Or in worse conditions if you can find them.
Yeah, cold, wet.
Cold and wet.
Windy.
The other thing is, too, you don't have to, I think, again, like you said, you get caught up in finding the right gear.
Right.
And you look at what everybody else is doing and saying, okay, Ultras, is that what everybody's doing? Then let me do that. Because I found that, if I would have, thought about it, for me, I could have wore a pair of tennis shoes that I usually wear. If it didn't work out, then I could always, change later. Now looking back, I don't feel like it was necessary that I purchased a pair of Ultras, because, it's something to get your feet used to, for one thing, when I already had a pair of shoes that I could have worn. And the other thing is, as far as being, try to find ways to innovate. Like I was talking about earlier, where I cut off a milk jug, the bottom, just to do a wash pan. And they sell them for like $24, $25 or whatever. Try to find out ways that you can do things that you yourself to, maybe save you some money, and it does the same things, and even will be lighter weight. So it's about trying things and seeing what works for you.
Cool. Well, it was great getting to know both of you over the past couple days. And if you have social media, plug your channel or your Instagram. If not, just wave goodbye.
Bye.
Leonidas on the Trail on Instagram. Same on YouTube.
Okay.
See you later.
All right. Thanks, guys.
You're welcome.
Thanks.